Have you ever wondered why you feel like you want to eat what you eat? Yeah, I know it's quite a mouthful, but picture this. You have just dined out at your favorite local restaurant, right? As you're walking home, you pass by a bakery with an amazing display of fresh cakes and pies. And through the bakery's doors comes this aroma of chocolate and coffee. You pause. Remember, you're not really hungry. You just ate a full meal. However, you choose to enter the bakery and get a slice of cake and an espresso regardless. Later on, as the caffeine keeps you awake at night, you wonder why you succumbed. This is what you're going to be discussing in this video. The reasons and processes that make you want to eat what you eat. Perhaps it may explain why so many people struggle with sticking to particular diets. Hey guys, welcome to NutriTrove. I am your host Pete Afra, and let's get to it. Now, you may be wondering about the importance of learning the reasons for eating what and when you do. If you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, or maintain your current weight, you'll find it helpful to keep a log of the reasons behind your dietary choices. There are two primary mechanisms that make you seek out food. These mechanisms are hunger and appetite. Hunger is your physiologic urge for food that comes about when your body senses you need to eat. This need is not specific. Think about it. When you're really hungry, any type of food can satisfy you. If you've just had a heavy meal, for instance, then hunger will not lead you to an additional helping of dessert. Instead, what will compel you is likely to be your appetite. Appetite is a physiological drive to eat specific foods. Most of the time, environmental cues arouse your appetite. Let's go back to the scenario at the beginning of the video. As you were passing by the bakery, it was the sight of the cakes and the smell of the coffee that stimulated your senses. This likely prompted some pleasant memories or even pleasant emotions, and may explain why you succumbed even after having a full meal just a few moments prior. So you can have an appetite even when you're not really hungry. On the other hand, you can also be hungry and yet have no appetite. When this state persists, it can turn into anorexia, which comes with a whole host of problems. By the way, I'm planning a video that dives into anorexia, how it affects nutrition, and how to manage it. So ensure you subscribe to NutriTrove and turn on that notification icon to catch that. Now, I'm going to talk about hunger and appetite as separate entities. However, these two states often coexist. We all seek specific appealing foods to satisfy our biological need for nutrients. Starting with hunger, because it's a physiological sensation that pushes you to find and eat food, you will feel it as an unpleasant or negative sensation. Your brain produces this sensation. Yeah, that's right, it's not your stomach that tells you when you're hungry, it's your head. The sensation originates from the region in your brain known as the hypothalamus. If you paid attention to high school biology, then you'll remember this as the part that regulates different types of involuntary actions. Your hypothalamus triggers the feelings of both hunger and fullness. It does this by integrating signals from different parts of your body. You have nerve cell signals, hormone signals, and signals from the type and amount of food you eat. Hunger regulating signals come from special cells lining your stomach and small intestines. These cells detect changes in pressure based on whether the organ is empty or bloated with food. This data is then relayed to your hypothalamus. Therefore, if you haven't eaten for a while, you will experience the unpleasant sensation of hunger. Then we have hormonal signals. For example, your pancreas produces two important hormones, insulin and glucagon, which help maintain your blood sugar levels. Since glucose is the most readily available fuel source, its level in your blood is a key signal for regulating hunger. When you haven't eaten, your blood glucose levels will fall. This prompts a change in the levels of insulin and glucagon. The message is relayed to your hypothalamus, which prompts you to eat in order to restock your supply of glucose. Now, once you've eaten, your hypothalamus picks up the rise in blood glucose plus the nerve signals from the gut that we've just talked about. When it integrates these signals, you get the sensation of fullness. Now, here's the kicker. Even though your brain sends you clear signals about hunger and satisfaction, we have become quite good at ignoring these signals. That is why you will find yourself eating even when you are not hungry. Then we have the type and amount of food you eat. Different food produce different fullness levels. For example, eating ham and eggs will leave you feeling fuller for longer compared to pancakes and syrup, even when both meals have the same amount of calories. The bulk of your meal also matters, or how much fiber and water the food contains. Bulky meals stretch out your stomach and small intestines, which signals your brain that you're full, so you'll stop eating. Quick tip, if you have a problem suppressing your appetite, then you should include more fiber-rich foods in your diet. Semi-solid foods and beverages tend to be less satiating than solid foods. So if you were to eat a mango, you'd feel a lot fuller than if you drank a glass of mango juice. This is why it's easy to consume lots of calories on a liquid diet. This works in favor of people trying to gain weight, but against you if you're trying to lose weight. Now let's look at appetite, the other mechanism that makes you seek out food. While hunger is triggered by internal factors, your appetite is mainly triggered by environmental factors. The most significant of these factors are sensory information, social and cultural cues, and learned aspects. So, what is sensory information in this context? Food stimulates one or more of your senses. This is why cooks prepare, ornament, and arrange foods artfully to appeal to your sense of sight. Food producers are aware of this effect, and they spend tons of money to package and promote their products in the most appealing ways. The aromas of foods such as baked goods and freshly brewed coffee are also powerful stimulants. In fact, much of your ability to taste food comes from your sense of smell. This explains why you usually lack appetite when you have a stuffy nose from a cold. Even your sense of hearing can be a food stimulant, from the crunch of peanuts to the fizz of Coca-Cola to the crackle of Rice Krispies. Then we have cultural and social cues. Ever notice how certain social events like holiday gatherings or birthday parties somehow stimulate your appetite? During these occasions, there is a cultural allowance to eat more than usual or eat forbidden foods. Even when you're full, these cues motivate you to accept second helpings. There's a good reason people tend to gain weight during holiday seasons. Sometimes being in a certain setting can trigger appetite, like a movie theater or a football game. Oftentimes, your appetite may increase or decrease depending on who you are with. For example, you may eat more when you are at home with your family and tend to eat less when you are out on a date. At other times, your appetite can mask an emotional response to an external situation, when they are anxious, frustrated, or bored. Turns out this and many other social and cultural situations influence your appetite more than you may realize. Finally, we come to learned influences. Let's do an experiment real quick. Will you want to eat pig's feet? What about stewed octopus, blood sausage, or tripe? No? Well, these are appetizing delicacies in various cultures. What about grasshoppers? If you'd grown up in certain regions of Central America or Africa, you'd probably savor such a dish. This is because our preferences for specific foods are a learned thing. Your family, community, religion, and cultural background teaches you what foods are appropriate to eat and what aren't. Having said that, you can learn to enjoy new foods at any stage in your life. That's why immigrants from developing countries settling in the US, for example, will often develop a Western diet after a while, especially if they can't readily access their traditional foods. This is what I mean by learned influences. It can happen even temporarily when you travel. Think of the last time you toured some new region. You probably found yourself enjoying some dishes that aren't part of your normal diet. Your food appetite also changes when you learn about the health benefits of certain foods, and you may start including them more in your diet. You can also learn to dislike foods you once enjoyed. I have personal experience with this. I once got food poisoning from undercooked runny eggs, which I loved. After that incident, for quite a while, I developed a deep hatred for eggs and anything cooked with eggs. It's the same way many people become vegetarians after learning about the treatment of animals in slaughterhouses and food production facilities. You may have loved meat once, but then developed a lack of appetite for it. Now you know the reasons why you eat what you eat. It's a complex interaction of hunger, which is triggered by internal factors, and appetite, which is largely influenced by external stimuli in combination with social and cultural cues. So do you normally eat in response to internal triggers that tell you that your body needs food? Or you eat in response to external situations, emotions, or a learned pattern? Try this. Try and keep a cues log for about a week. This can help you get an accurate picture of the reasons that influence your eating habits. When you do so, it can help you increase your awareness of certain patterns you might want to change. Hope you've learned a lot from this video. Share it with someone who wants to understand and manage his or her appetite better. Hit the like button and subscribe to NutriTrove for more amazing nutrition content. As always, I appreciate the support.